This is She Fascinates Me, a podcast about women who are living with intention, curiosity, and heart. I'm Julie Silber, and in each episode, I'm bringing you conversations with women who inspire fascination in all its forms. Today on She Fascinates Me, I'm joined by Alice Turner, a birth doula based in Seattle, Washington, who supports women through pregnancy, labor, and birth. Before this conversation, I didn't fully understand what a doula actually does, or how impactful that support can be. We talk about advocacy, informed choice, and why feeling truly supported can change the entire birth experience. Hello, and welcome to She Fascinates Me. I'm your host, Julie Silber, and today we get to talk to a doula. I'm with my friend Alice Turner. She is a childbirth educator and has been a doula for over 20 years. She also has a YouTube channel specifically for childbirth education called Birth Toolbox. So welcome to She Fascinates Me.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Hi. So you're all the way in Seattle, Washington. You used to live in Atlanta, where I am. And I'm excited to kind of run through your story with everyone because I've always been curious about what a doula does. I've only had the experience of working with a midwife when our daughter was born. And I'm kind of hearing a lot about this. You know, I think there's so much more information out there, you know, with everything online. So it's going to be cool for you to demystify the world of doulas for our listeners and viewers today.
Happy to do it.
Your education, your background is biomedical engineering. You went to Vanderbilt. And how long were you a biomedical engineer? What was that like? And then let's talk about how you transitioned into doula.
Yeah, for sure. So I did my engineering work after college, probably about 5-ish years or so.
Okay.
I started out working for a biotech company, actually out here in Seattle. And it was really exciting because it was a healthcare company, and I was working with data, which maybe doesn't sound exciting, but I loved it because it was in healthcare, and that was really interesting to me.
Okay.
But then I moved back to Atlanta and transitioned to a job that was more of a, kind of a corporate numbers job that didn't have the healthcare component.
Okay.
So that wasn't as fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was what I think was kind of started getting my mind thinking about this wasn't sort of that work that was fulfilling my soul. But I didn't really know what I was going to do next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what happened? What sparked the interest for doula, and like how soon after the dissatisfaction with your career did you discover it?
Yeah, well, it was definitely a turning point, I think, in my life and my career. And it happened when it was like a friend of a friend. We had, we had been at the same sort of gatherings, and I knew her, but we weren't super close. She was pregnant, and she, I feel like out of the blue to me, reached out to me and asked if I could be in the delivery room with her if her husband couldn't be there.
Wow. And kind of out of the blue, that must have been a shocking contact. Was it a phone call or a cup of tea together, or how did she ask you that?
It was a phone call. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a phone call. And so I kind of knew a little bit about what was going on, that her husband was, he was actually a pastor, and he was taking on a new role at a new church and in Florida. And so he had already sort of been training, kind of going back and forth, and he had to start this new role, and they said that he could come back for the birth, but he could only come back a week before the birth through a week after the birth. So the 3-week period was all that he could be there. And she, of course, knowing it was her second baby, and she knew that babies don't necessarily come on a timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
Apparently the church didn't know that.
It was really surprising. I remember all of the friend group was kind of shocked by the lack of support that was being...
And the lack of flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it was really, surprising to all of us.
Yes.
So she wanted somebody there, just in case he wasn't there in time. And the reason that she reached out to me is at the time, I was the only person that she knew very well, or maybe at all, that was like in the same age group, had young kids, and had two different experiences. So because I had two children, and they were the birth experiences were different.
Okay.
And so she kind of identified me as like the most knowledgeable person that she knew.
Okay.
That she decided to reach out to.
I mean, good for her for doing that, first of all, because I think some people might have been like, golly, I could never ask someone to help, or, right? So that was a huge thing for her to even ask you. And I'm assuming that you were receptive to the idea. Yeah. Is there something, are you wired that way? Do you like to help people out?
Yeah, totally. It was, she had seen sort of enough for me to know that like this was totally up my alley. I love to help people. I remember feeling just that feeling inside after she called me of just being like, it was like a spark, like so excited to have this, ability to really help someone in an important moment. So
yeah. I mean, to be asked. Yeah, I was just about to say, you must have felt honored, but that spark that ignited in you was something that you listened to. So let's go a little further with the story, because this is really interesting how it unfolds. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to say that that was my first birth experience, and that's what I wanted. But actually, he came back, and the baby cooperated with the schedule that the church gave. And they, they were together and had the baby, and they didn't need to call me.
Okay.
I remember, I think that like I heard from our mutual friend that she had the baby. So I didn't hear from her. She had just had a baby. So understandably.
Sure. She's a little busy. Yeah.
Exactly. But I was totally devastated. Just,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like
a giant wow.
It totally was. It totally was.
Oh gosh.
I was excited about it, and then I kind of, tried to learn about, well, what should I do? So I was kind of diving into what is the role, what would that role be, and how would I help her? So I kind of started dipping my toes into doula work before I really knew that's what I was doing.
I see. So how were you gathering that information? I'm curious about your process of educating yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, strangely, I remember doulas at the time. So this was, probably 21 years ago, Atlanta. Doulas weren't very popular. It wasn't something that you heard about a lot. But I remember I had heard about it like on TV, something on TV had heard the word doula, and I was like, oh, I think this is a job. I think this is something that people actually do for a living. So after I wasn't able to be at the birth, I started like researching that a little bit more. Like, what is this a job? Like, do people do that? And do people in Atlanta use doulas? And I quickly went down the rabbit hole and like signed up for a doula training, and just like, I'm just going to do it and see. And I think it was, several months out, and, I got the list of reading materials and everything. And I was already like so excited to start going down that.
So you did the initial research, like the shallow dive, prior to finding out that you weren't needed to help. And then you did the deeper dive and signed up to become a doula. And so how long was that training?
It's like a 3-day workshop, and then you have to do a lot of reading and you do like fulfill different requirements and that kind of thing. But as soon as you sign up for the workshop, you get a list of books that you need to read. And what really like a moment that in the process that just really stands out to me, or I remember really well, is we were on vacation. We were at St. George Island with my in-laws, and I had my reading, and I went outside to, like quiet time, it was nap time, and I started reading, and I just, it was that couldn't put the books down kind of
just hyper focused.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's meant to be for you. Yeah.
Totally.
Not enough
And
hours in the day
yeah,
to gather the information and to just get into it. Yeah.
yeah.
That's a great feeling, isn't it?
It really is. It's a
Yeah.
feeling like I wish that everybody could stumble upon because
Yeah.
it was so cool.
But it takes a little bit of a leap of faith, and it takes being open to it like you were. I mean, you didn't really know this friend who was an acquaintance. You didn't know her that well, but you said yes. And I think just that in general as a life motto can open so many doors, right? For people, especially, I mean, now you've been doing it for a long time, but like for me, starting a podcast at age 52, I was saying yes to myself instead of keeping doors closed and feeling insecure. So way to go. I mean, that's just such a great message in itself, how you let yourself get into it and then you found yourself just really passionate.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we, let's back up a little bit because I'd like for you to explain the differences between midwifery. Is there a special word for doula? I mean, a midwife practices midwifery. Does a
Right.
doula
Not
practice
really.
Doulaism or something like that? I don't know.
No, but there should be
I
words.
like using the correct words. So
There
you
should be
can,
words.
you can clarify that. And then also childbirth educator. So these are three terms that I'm thinking of as we're talking. So what's the distinction?
Yeah, so there's a lot of overlap, but they are very distinct. So the midwife is like an OB. They are your medical provider. So they're the ones responsible for your health care. So they would be the ones, doing prenatal health care, taking care of you in labor as far as like any kind of, suggesting anything medically or, doing exams and that kind of thing.
Okay.
A doula is a non-medical person. So while we are very knowledgeable in birth, we are not going to be, recommending medical procedures or doing any kind of like hands-on exams or anything like that. We're more like it's kind of like a personal trainer, a coach, an advocate, kind of all wrapped up into one.
In a wonderful bundle. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that we have the opportunity that I know healthcare providers probably would like to be able to develop that sort of more in-depth relationship with the patients that they work with. But a lot of times, they're in the healthcare providers work in groups. You don't know who you're going to have the day of labor and all of that. But your doula meets with you beforehand and really finds out a lot about you and how they can support you and what your goals are. And then doulas are on call. So we live a life on call. It's very complicated. I won't get into it, how to structure your life, or we can talk about that if you want to, but
yeah, that is something I'm definitely curious about because obviously babies are going to come when babies are going to come. But how do you juggle all of that? And we can talk about it later, but I'm curious about your patient load or your client load, how many can you really handle at one time? Because you are only one Alice Turner.
It is complicated. But so the doula's on call. We're there as soon as people want to join in labor through the birth and usually the initial feeding and that kind of thing. And then the childbirth educator is someone who works, teaching a childbirth class, whether that's a private class or a group class. And a lot of doulas do provide education kind of when they're meeting, but don't go in depth. And I really also kind of fell in love with that role too, because I'm really a believer that if you don't know your options, like you don't have any options. So if you don't know there are different ways to go about things, or sort of the reason behind, why things are done, or it just helps you feel more confident in your decisions. And it also reduces fear when people know more about what they're getting into in any kind of new situation.
Exactly. Well, and with limitless amounts of information available to us online, you can narrow the universe for people by getting to know them. I'm assuming you spend a lot of time on that intake side of the relationship. Do you refer to them as your clients?
Yes.
Okay. So the client relationship of taking in that information and then just tailoring the options for what you're sensing feels right. And you've definitely got to be such a people person. You've got to have this high emotional intelligence, I'm sure, to be able to get that reading from people, to really simplify things for them. Do you feel like you're able to simplify, or are there still so many overwhelming choices that you have to work with the clients to narrow down? Or is it pretty easy for you to kind of hone in on, okay, they're going to be interested in these 3 options? How does that work?
Well, when I work with someone as a doula, I do recommend that they do education also, so that they come to sort of the doula relationship with some ideas behind, so they're not totally clueless on how things are going to go. And so then we can kind of make more progress. But
exactly. It makes for a much more efficient process. And I think when there's a baby involved, you do kind of need to be efficient because you only got 9 months, right?
So
and one of those months is taken up by, that first month where a lot of people don't even know that they're pregnant. I was watching one of your videos. It was either one of your reels on Instagram or one of your YouTube videos where you talked about, you've just gotten your positive results of your pregnancy test. And by now you might be around 4 weeks pregnant. So the whole 9 months thing, we only have 8 months to get ready, people.
I know. It is really true. It feels just like when you're a parent, sometimes the days feel really long, but the months go by fast. Yeah.
Fast, for sure. So you've done the intake with the couple, or sometimes I'm assuming you might even be working with women who are not married, to have some support. And even in that case, I can imagine how much more incredible your support would be, right? It would be interesting to find out what percentage of your clients are having babies on their own versus with a spouse or a partner. So you've done the intake process, and then what does the rest of that relationship with the client look like? How long are you working together, and how frequently do you engage?
I think one of the things that a lot of people, when they first hear about the work of a doula, they assume that we work with like a home birth. Or that's one thing I hear a lot. Oh, you work with home birth, or you work with people that are looking for an unmedicated birth. They want a doula, and I would say that is probably, if I look at the like last 350 births that I've been to, that's probably a smaller percentage. A lot of people find doulas who know or who value an expert and know that they want just extra help.
That added support. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not really about sort of the goals for birth. It's more about people that value someone who brings the knowledge and can just help guide them.
So that's interesting. Yeah, because I had this idea that a doula was all about an alternative birth approach. And so you're saying that's not even really the case. I feel like, wow.
That's a common myth, because, if I meet somebody like at a party that I've never met someone before, they find out I'm a doula, they're like, oh, so you work at home births. That's that one I hear a lot, actually. Oh, so most of your clients give birth at home. Like, no, actually, most of my clients are in the hospital. Vast majority are in the hospital. Yeah. And a lot of my clients go in knowing they want a medicated birth. They're looking for an epidural, but they know also that a lot of the clients have heard the statistics out that the C-section rate is rising in the U.S. And maybe they have heard from friends that had negative birth experiences, and they know how important it is to them to have that positive experience. And so that's why they reach out for that extra person.
Sure.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, just again, in general, as a society, we are so hungry for information. We know how to get it. And, we seek out tutorials for makeup, and we seek out TED Talks, and podcasts and all these arenas to enrich our minds and our knowledge set. So it only makes sense that the rise of awareness of what a doula can do is happening in our culture.
That's right. Yeah.
Good for your business. Good for your business.
Yeah. Yeah. When you see people going out to like an expert to help, I mean, obviously people looking for doula aren't looking at college, but we have college age kids and looking for a college counselor, that's helping through that process. There's lots of people that really play that like specific expert role. And that's how the doula is as well.
I mean, why not? It's such a huge moment, a huge thing to go through. And there's so many things going on with emotions and the physicality of it all, where you might feel like you're not able to advocate as well for yourself or to get through something without someone helping you. Yeah. So, boy, did you really get to tap into your drive to be a helper just by having this career. And now we'll take a moment for the giving intermission. Don't fast forward. Your karma is watching. Friends of Refugees. During our conversation, Alice and I are talking a lot about support and what it truly means to walk alongside a woman during one of the most vulnerable moments of her life. And that's why she wanted me to spotlight Friends of Refugees. Friends of Refugees is in Clarkston, Georgia, and it serves the greater Atlanta area. It's a nonprofit doing extraordinary work to support resettled refugee women and families as they rebuild their lives. Through programs focused on maternal health, wellness, education, and economic empowerment, they provide compassionate, culturally sensitive care to women who often face pregnancy and motherhood without a support system. Much like the role of a doula, Friends of Refugees shows up with presence, dignity, and care, meeting women where they are and ensuring that they're not alone during critical life transitions. From prenatal support and parenting education to holistic wellness services, their work embodies the very heart of what Alice feels passionate about: informed choice, advocacy, and human connection. If this conversation resonates with you and you're inspired by the power of support during pregnancy and beyond, I encourage you to learn more about Friends of Refugees and consider supporting their mission. Because every woman, no matter where she comes from, deserves to be supported and cared for. Visit www.friendsofrefugees.com. So, okay, let's talk about some data here, since you love data.
Yes.
How many babies have you brought into the world? And have there been some multiples? I want to know some fun facts.
Well, personally, I've only brought in 4 with my own body. But
sorry. Okay.
Okay, no, but I have.
And that's plenty, by the way. That's a lot of kids. 4 kids is a lot.
Yeah, 4 is a lot. But I've worked with couples, many couples, several births, but I think I've probably been at about between 350 and 400 births in my career.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah. I've worked with two families for 4 babies. So all 4 of theirs. Yeah. Almost. There was.
Do those families have a punch card with you? Do you have like loyalty points?
Yes. Yes, it should. I feel like part of the family.
Yeah.
I almost had a 5th, but in Atlanta, but then I moved, and so my family having 5. But I haven't worked with a lot of multiples actually.
Okay.
I think I have worked with 3 multiples families.
Okay.
Twins.
Were they twins or were they more than that?
Yeah, twins.
Yeah.
Just twins. And yeah, I worked with 2 Grammy Award-winning artists, which was very fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was cool.
Are you able to say who, or would you rather not? I totally respect if you cannot.
I think I can say. Can say. Yeah. Or I could give a hint.
Okay.
But yeah. Being in Atlanta, it was our artists that I grew up listening to, the Indigo Girls. So I had the privilege of working with them.
Oh my gosh, I grew up listening to them. Oh, yeah. I loved them so much in high school. And
totally.
Yeah. Oh, how cool. Okay.
Yeah, super lovely. Yeah, that was fun.
I bet.
Yeah, but just it's a job that the numbers are cool, but it's just amazing to be there when life enters the world. And it can be super hard. It doesn't always go smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's some of my numbers are not numbers that, are great to share, like, hard outcomes and difficult times. But
Yeah.
it is a life experience that we don't know what's going to happen. And
Sure. And you're referring to certain situations where there might be a child who is born with a surprising condition that they weren't aware of, or families who do know during the process of the pregnancy that the child will be born with some sort of a health condition.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And then you're having to, those have got to be the most challenging and very emotional, even more so than a traditional or typical birth. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But I mean, given your emotional side of you and your sensitivity to people, do you feel really well equipped to handle those, or are they or do you consider those the most challenging, or do you feel like you really rise to that occasion and you're able to do what you need to do for these families to get them through it?
I think that I sometimes second guess myself, after the fact, but I feel like that it is nice to be at this place in my career that I feel like I've had a lot of experiences, so that
Yes.
I can kind of work with, what's unexpected. And the crazy part about birth is that it really is different every time. I mean, it is so exciting in that way that it's just,
Sure.
You don't really know exactly all the ways it's going to play out, but
Exactly. So it's got to be thrilling. Gosh. Do you,
really
is there adrenaline at play for you when you're in the delivery room? Just because I remember that piece for me, when we had our daughter Arden, adrenaline was huge. I was so pumped up. I was so energized. I was so into it. And I actually considered it fun.
yeah, that's
And so,
awesome. I love
yeah,
it. Yeah.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, she did have some challenges, but just the pushing and, all of that was just so exciting. And I didn't have any pain because I had an epidural, but, gosh. Okay. So I want to talk to you about the whole natural birth versus epidurals.
Sure.
So that is a totally different coaching type of process, right? If you've got a client who, from the get-go that they're going to have an epidural, do you consider those kind of an easy delivery situation? Okay. Versus natural? No.
Yeah, no. It is, well, I think of the epidural as a tool. And my channel and my childbirth class, I call it Birth Toolbox, because I like to think about educating people about all their different tools that they can choose for labor, and they can choose many, or, sometimes you don't have options to some of them. And so I think of the epidural as a tool. And even though sometimes people think it's like an easy, like, oh, it was easy because I had an epidural, I don't see it that way at all. It's almost like a bit of a different variation, because with an epidural, you do have other challenges that you want to, be aware of, make sure people know.
Like what? What do you mean?
Well, sometimes, like, if you have an epidural, you don't have movement. You don't have the same ability to move. So as a doula, I want to help facilitate movement with an epidural in bed. And that helps reduce any type of slowing down of labor. And yeah, so there's a lot of, actually, especially in the last, I would say about 10 years, there's been a lot of research into really facilitating movement during an epidural, like with something called a peanut ball that kind of props up your leg, and different ideas about how often you should change your position in labor with an epidural.
I see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool science to think about.
Versus just laying on the bed and
That's right.
and pushing through contractions, like utilizing specific poses or positions to kind of stimulate contractions or
to help
make it easier for the baby to
to help the baby move through the pelvis. It's good to move mom. And so when you have an epidural, you don't move just naturally. So you have kind of that challenge. Can be a challenge, but so they are kind of different. But then also, a lot of people have sort of a goal what their ideal time to get an epidural is. So I like to, find out about that and talk about how they manage pain. And it's fascinating to me. I mean, I love to think about people's mindset, how they think about pain. And
yes,
there's a lot.
Well, and everyone's pain tolerance is different.
Totally.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the husbands, because in researching what you do, I learned that you help the fathers so much become involved. And I like, when we had our preliminary conversation, I loved how you described the way men felt like they needed to be in the delivery room versus how you help them understand they should be to support their partner. So can you go into some of that?
Yeah. I love working with dads and partners. It's because usually, the partner wants to do the right thing and they want to be supportive, but a lot of times it's not intuitive. It's the common thing that I witnessed, especially in my early career, is that dads and partners would kind of back up, especially if something seemed like there was a healthcare professional, the nurse was in there or something, they had to do something. They were kind of like, oh, I need to get out of the way, or I'll just be kind of quiet in the corner. And there was a lot of I don't want to step on toes, or I don't want to mess up, and that's the opposite of what we really want. Maybe usually people in labor want their spouse to be close by, and maybe not jabbering at them, right? during contractions or something but to know that the person is there and is present and is paying attention, not on their phone or not, distracted, but actually paying attention to what is the nurse saying, what are they asking, and just really being so present is really important. Yeah. So sometimes, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. So not only are you approaching the mother and the couple, but you're spending, it sounds like, a lot of time with the partner or the father to help them be able to feel spiritually connected and just bonded.
Yeah.
And prepared to be that way in the moment of the delivery. Wow.
Yeah.
And it just goes so counter to, you're up against what people's preconceived ideas have been about the role of that person. Yeah. So you're kind of having to undo ways of thinking. Yeah. Do you feel like most of the time you're able to get the father or the partner on board with that? Or sometimes does it just kind of not connect with them?
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm surprised that I'll have a dad that says, I just want to read my book in the corner. And his, partner is like, that's why I hired a doula, because I know that.
Right. Exactly. So it doesn't feel like a failure or, we didn't really get what we wanted out of the relationship. If that's what they want together, or if the mother is like, you know what, that is exactly like you said, that's why you're here, Alice. Yeah. That's why we have you here with us. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
we definitely have that. But then I would say the majority of dads, they do want to be there. They just don't know what to do. So a lot of times as a doula, I might do something as simple as pull up a chair and put it right next to wherever she's laboring. Is she in the tub? I'll pull the chair up right here and be like, hey, go ahead and sit, you can sit here. You can be close. And they're like, yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. And, as soon as she gets close, as soon as, dad gets close, you'll see her hands reach out for him, and it's she's in her head. She's not thinking to say, hey, can you come closer to me? But because she's in labor.
She's in a whole other space. Yeah.
Totally. So moments like that, it's a little thing, but it's
got to feel really beautiful, and that your work is working. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. I'm just visualizing that as you're painting the picture. Yeah, it's really cool. So the spillover to actually parenting, I'm sure, is evident, because if you have a couple that you've worked with and they become so bonded and they get through this big thing together, both of them. I mean, I'm just going to tell a little story. My hairdresser, Mariah, and her husband, Ruskin, they worked with a doula here in Atlanta. And I don't know if you know that doula. I don't know the name, but they are such wonderful parents. They have a 4-month-old right now. And they're so connected. And Ruskin is so involved in Royal's life and the day-to-day. And it just feels like there's this accelerated pace of feeling connected for the dad to the baby boy, which might not have been there. I just, because you hear a lot of stories of the fathers, and I don't know if there are other gender partner relationships where this happens too, but specifically I've heard about fathers who feel like they just don't connect to the baby that much as the mom does until they can do more with the baby.
Yeah.
And so what a gift you're giving a young family when they can be more involved immediately.
I think it's such a beginning of the relationship as a family, right? With and labor is something that, it's usually challenging. However way you go, it's challenging.
For sure. Even though I said mine was fun.
Yeah.
It was definitely not as fun as playing tennis.
Right.
Or shopping.
It's like, right. Have you heard the term type 2 fun, which is like something?
No, but I love that.
You research type 2 fun. Yeah. It's like something that's physically challenging, like running a marathon, type 2 fun,
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay. I'm totally going to look that up when we finish our call.
Yeah. But, when you get past a challenge together as a team, as a couple, and, you're like, you look at each other and, they're like, we did that. And as we know, as experienced parents, that's just the beginning, right? Like labor is just the beginning. You've got a lot of challenges that you're going to have to rise to in parenting this child, and starting that off in a positive way. And what I love about birth work is there's actually research that says that it's not necessarily about how the labor and the birth go. Like, did things go smoothly? It's really about how you felt about it. Did you feel like you had ownership over your decisions? Did you feel respected?
Yes.
And those can lead to a positive birth, even if things don't go the way that you wanted them to go. But
sure. Yeah, because in life, sometimes we have to go through some really hard things. But if you feel like you were really in it together and you've given it everything you can support wise,
right,
then you walk away with, okay, we've done everything we can. Now we got to move forward. And we are super bonded now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel when I look at this sweet relationship of my hairdresser and her husband with their baby, because they do a lot of things on social media and the videos they post. I mean, he'll give her blowouts to her hair.
The baby?
The dad, Ruskin, will give Mariah a blowout. She'll be sitting in the chair nursing the baby.
Oh.
And there's this one video where I don't think she's holding the baby, but she's like crying because she's tired, she's a new mama, and he's just sitting there giving her this soothing blowout. Oh. And it's a sweet, sweet husband and wife, young parents moment to watch. And that was when I called you, because I knew we had to have this conversation. So one of our mutual friends put us together.
That's right.
Kim here in Atlanta. And that's the beautiful thing about this podcast. It's just really easy to through friends or friends of friends, to find wonderful guests with such interesting careers and experiences to share. So I'm really glad you've taken the time to sit with us and explain all of this. So not only are you an incredible doula, and you have been in this profession for over 20 years, that in itself is a business. Yeah. But then you have the business of YouTube and Birth Toolbox. So can you explain those components? Because you are certainly the total package, but I love what you've done to put everything together for people, and you're reaching a lot of people. Your YouTube has over 100,000 subscribers. That is huge.
Yeah.
And also, I guess there's some attrition too, because they're with you while they're pregnant, and then if they're not going to have babies any longer, then you might lose them. So the fact that you've got such a huge audience, think about, do you ever sometimes think about what 100,000 is? That is a lot.
Yeah, it's funny because my husband is more of a football fan than I am, but like if we're at a stadium or something where there's a stadium, like at a concert or something, he'll point out, like, this stadium holds so many people or whatever. Like, it is kind of hard to think about. Yeah.
It's just kind of a mind-boggling number. So I don't know. I want people to understand the gravity of this product that you've put together for families to make it easy, because there's so much information out there, and a lot of it is probably not even vetted. A lot of it's probably opinion. And so that can be really confusing for a mother or a young couple or anyone who's going to have children to even sort through. So the fact that you've developed Birth Toolbox and that you have your YouTube channel is just so empowering for families. So I'd love to understand how all of that comes together with being a doula.
Yeah, totally. Well, you're heading in the right direction, because that's what I was thinking too when I started the channel, is what I was seeing out there was in social media and on YouTube was a lot of people giving their ideas about birth when they had given birth one time, and people certainly can share that, but sharing how one thing happens that maybe isn't even medically correct, isn't really a great way for other people to learn.
Sure. And I think it could be dangerous as well. It should be treated more like a journal, like a video journal versus educational information. Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So being a childbirth educator, and I keep up with what current research is and everything. And I kept thinking somebody should be making videos that, are actually from a childbirth educator. And then I was like, I could be doing this. Why don't I just
do that?
Yeah. But, it is a little hard to like you starting the podcast, like taking the leap and getting out there. But I started making videos, and I think of them as childbirth education in just like tiny nuggets, one topic, usually small, amount of time that you can learn about one thing. And I really was trying to answer some of the common questions that I would get from students that either I was teaching an in-person class, and I kept getting the same question about, like, how does labor start or whatever? And, I should make a video about that.
Sure.
Yeah. So
by now, like, how many videos do you have on your YouTube channel? I did not do deep enough homework to have counted. Sorry.
I don't even know the answer to that either, Julie, but I would say there's over 1,000.
Oh, wow. You've been busy.
Some of them, shorts are on there too. So I do short videos as well.
Sure.
So they're not as.
So like some of them are shorts and some of them are how long?
Are probably my sweet spot is usually between like 7 and 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, especially if you are expecting, you might only have a pocket of 7 or 10 minutes. Yeah. Or if you already have some kids and you're pregnant with another, maybe go hide in the bathroom for 7 to 10 minutes and watch a video. Yeah.
Totally. You can have like just a little nugget of information.
Yeah. Okay.
So
the YouTube is the way you are able to let people know about birthtoolbox.com.
That's right.
And so you don't have to pay money for any of the content on YouTube. Is that even a thing with YouTube? Do some people charge?
No. So, there's there are memberships within YouTube, but it's not as common. Yeah.
But that's not how you're structured.
I have a membership, but most of my content is free. Like,
got it.
Majority. Yeah. And actually the Birth Toolbox class started when COVID happened. I was about to teach I had just booked a place here in Seattle to teach my first in-person class in Seattle. after moving here from Atlanta. And it was literally like I had just checked out the place that I was going to have the class. And of course, city was shut down, as we all know what happened.
Right.
And so then I knew there were pregnant families out there, expecting families that were disrupted and not having the education. So I started live streaming my class. So I did a 14-day, I met 14 days straight for one night, live streamed the class to YouTube, and it was awesome. Like, I loved it so much. And the same people kept showing up, and
perfect.
yeah. So then I did that.
So just like the other situation with the friend who asked you to be with you, and then you felt kind of bummed that you didn't get to help her in the delivery room, and then you were about to do this class, and you're like, darn it, well, I'm still going to do it. And so then Birth Toolbox was born.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. That's kind of your thing.
Yeah. So I just ended up recording it and putting it for sale for anybody who wants, it's nice to have an online class that you can do at your own pace. Especially if you and your partner maybe have different schedules, you're not able to sit down and do a class together. And it gives that flexibility.
Yeah. So it's a video class. And gosh, how long is a video class?
So there's 1 hour segments. Think of it like a Netflix series, and there's 14 classes. Yep. So it's a mix of, I try to tell people when you're thinking about taking a class to prepare for birth, you want to learn sort of how birth works, and then you also want to learn how to deal with labor. So it's learning kind of both at the same time, the background of what happens with your body and,
yes,
but also tools, which is why I called it the toolbox. Like, I want you to know, all the tools for breathing, visualization, vocalization, and, all that stuff. So,
and we haven't even touched on any of that stuff, but you are also a Lamaze instructor. Is that the correct term? Yeah. Can you explain Lamaze briefly?
Yeah, for sure. Lamaze is a childbirth training organization. So Lamaze certifies people to become instructors. And the Lamaze philosophy is mostly just evidence-based information, childbirth information, and it's not like a certain practice. It's more about best practices for a positive birth experience. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
and so that's one of the tools.
That's one of the tools.
Vocalization. Breathing.
Well, Lamaze is not a tool. It's like who I was trained under, but it is known for the breathing methods.
It's a technique.
Yeah.
Okay, so it encompasses the breathing and the vocalization. Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's visualization. So just like you might use in sports, that kind of thing. Movement, position changes, rhythm.
Okay.
And then traditional pain management tools like epidurals, nitrous oxide is now available more. So
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It was a long time ago was available. And then now it's coming back in the US and available in Canada too. So yeah.
And that's laughing gas, right?
Laughing gas. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've kind of had some fun with laughing gas in the dental chair. I wonder if I would have enjoyed that for birth. But is that a combination with the epidural, or would that be either or?
Usually either or. A lot of people can use it as a bridge to an epidural. Like if they know they want an epidural and they have to wait, they can use it, that's kind of temporary or instead of an epidural. Yeah.
So it's interesting. My goodness.
Yeah.
The laughing all the way through till the baby's born, right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Yeah.
Have you had any funny stories in the world of being a doula?
Gosh. Yeah, my funniest stories are when things go faster than people think, because I usually am telling people, it's kind of like, you want to you don't want people to think things are going fast or are going to be short and then they're long, right? It's better to like hedge your bet and say, it's probably going to be long. Be prepared for long. So I worked with this one couple in Atlanta, and, we had talked a lot about early labor. You want to rest. You want to ignore it for as long as possible. You want to, and they were really on board with that technique. They were really listening very well to me,
Okay.
Like, okay. And so they called me, middle of the night. That's typical for birth and labor. And they said, we've been ignoring it. We've been trying to sleep, but we think, maybe things are picking up. But we're ignoring it. We don't need you. Don't. And I could kind of.
Well, that's typical of middle of the night thought process anyway.
Exactly.
Right? You're like, oh, I'm probably just tired, whatever.
It's fine. Maybe not. Yeah. But I was talking to the dad, and I could kind of hear mom like breathing, in the background, or like she said something or something came from her that made me think, I don't know, maybe this is faster than, and I remember saying like, why don't I just come over and, you can always I can, send me home. A lot of times doulas will meet you at your home and then help you make that decision of, is it the right time to go to the hospital? That's a hard decision to make.
I'm sure it is for so many people. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I walked into their place, and the dad was like, focusing on something. He's like, I'm keeping track of the contractions. And I can hear her vocalizing where she's making that low, deep voice noises. And I'm like, whoa, we need to go to the hospital. And I said to him, like, okay, I already know. I can hear her. We need to. And he's like, well, I need to take the dogs on their walk. And they have these two little.
My gosh.
Yeah. And he's like, well, first I'm going to take the dogs on the walk. And he had already like put the harnesses on the dogs or whatever. And the dogs, of course, were like, and then I hear another contraction come. And I'm like, listen, your dogs are not going to get a walk right now.
You need to knock on the neighbor's door. It's what time is it? Like 3 a.m?
It was.
Someone will take care of the dogs. Yes.
Yeah. He was like, but Alice, you said it was going to be long. We've got hours here. And I'm like, okay, I know I said
no.
It's not.
Oh my God.
And I usually drive behind, like ride in my car, to the hospital. And as soon as I, like put eyes on this mom in labor, I was like, I'm going to ride in the car with you because you need support. And so we get in the car and we're on the way. It was only like 15, 20 minutes or whatever. She has a big contraction. Her water breaks. She's in the back seat, breaks in the car, just like kind of dramatic, like.
Right. Like out of a movie.
Yeah, totally. And so I say to Dad, like, okay, once we get there, we're going to pull right up front and we're going to go in really fast. And he's like, but we still have time. He was just I had just ingrained it so well that it was going to be long.
Oh gosh.
He was just counting on long and had not shifted gears to like, no. This is it. Yeah. So
what you said was the word, but I bet he's never been able to live that one down. I'm sure everyone has fun at the holidays, making fun of him for that little situation with the dogs. And
totally. They laughed about the dog. The baby was born. Within an hour after we got to the hospital, and they laughed about the dogs being so disappointed. In their
So I want to talk to you about so the client load. How many families or parents can you have at one time, knowing that you might get called?
Yeah.
You have to, I'm assuming you have to calculate due dates to come up with those numbers, right? And then the whole on-call thing, and when do you sleep and how do you sleep? And is your sleep totally like wonky and weird schedule? I'm just very curious about all of that.
Yeah. And this has changed in my career. When I was younger and, younger, when I was a younger doula.
When you were a baby doula?
When I was a baby doula, in my 30s, I would take at the most right about 4 people who had a due date in the same month period.
Okay.
But always had to have a backup or 2 in case 2 people were in labor at the same time.
Like a doula backup, a colleague that you could kind of assign to make sure they're committed to be available.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I served that role for other doulas too.
I see.
And was backup. And I had to use them for sure. And then as I have gotten older and done more childbirth education, YouTube and that kind of thing, now my schedule is more maybe 1 in a month or 2. And I also work with a doula partner. So there's 2 of us, which is an amazing way to work as a doula because it can be physically demanding. It can be, speaking of funny, like I had a time where my client was sleeping in bed with an epidural and I was so exhausted. I went into the bathroom and took a nap in the bathtub at the hospital.
Like you accidentally fell asleep or you just needed a nap? Yeah, in the bathtub. Oh, honey.
Because I wanted to be flat. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if you talk to doulas, you'll hear some crazy stories about like taking naps in quick naps in cars.
Yes. So are you someone who can kind of do that? Like snap your fingers and boom, you're out? Yeah. Oh, I wish I could do that.
It is a superpower. It is.
You're a professional napper, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can add that to your resume, right?
Right. Yeah.
You are truly fascinating. I just have loved learning all about this with you. My gosh. Is there anything else that I can think of to ask you about the sleep factor? So like, do you feel if you have like a really long situation, for example, someone calls you at 3 a.m. and you've got to attend their birth, and if it's a really long labor, and then a few days later you've got someone else coming up, how do you keep yourself healthy and rested? And have you ever had to, I guess, call in on a partner doula and say, I am overtired, I'm not going to be equipped to handle this next one? Because certainly it's all unpredictable. Yeah,
it is totally unpredictable. And I think doulas learn pretty quickly how that recovery is so important after a birth.
Yes.
And also I am a huge bedtime person. Like when I'm on call for a labor, I am like in bed, like 9:30. I got to be in bed sleeping and ready to go because I definitely don't want to have like a late night and then all of a sudden they call me and, I just know that it's really important. So it's a lot of management of like after birth, I'm trying to eat healthy foods, drink a lot of water, take a lot of naps, get out in nature is a big thing after birth too. So I've gotten better about that. But it's still tough, like scheduling and having to miss things that like my family does and my friends. I'm often saying like, well, I'll be there if I'm not at a birth. I mean, if you talk to a doula, they say that all the time. Like, I can help out at that activity at school as long as I'm not at a birth.
Right.
And you start trying to figure out like what are the non-negotiables that you can't miss in your own life, and then trying to say like, okay, I can't take clients around this birthday, this activity, whatever.
Do you feel like you've achieved that balance for yourself, or is that kind of a constant struggle?
I feel like it's still kind of a struggle. Really, I mean, with a partner, it's so much better. It's so much better. But I mean, even just my youngest son's birthday last year, I had a client go into labor like 2.5 weeks early. And, it was like birthday morning and I was about to give him something exciting and my phone rang and it was something I had to call. I had to take the call. So, Yeah.
Well, okay. So when you think about people who have interesting professions like yours that are so unpredictable with the timing and the intensity and the importance, and all of that, I do feel like it's got to be a situation where the family understands and supports. And so is that something that your family has had to work hard at, or does it kind of come naturally because you've been at it for so long?
I think now they get it. I mean, it's totally like, okay, yeah, we
Yeah.
know. And then they make jokes like, so when I'm heading out the door, like, so when are we going to see you? I'm like, okay, haha.
Yeah.
Of course you don't know when who knows when I'm going to be back. But,
Right.
It was hard. I mean, and
Sure.
doulas that work with little kids, like when I had kids that were in grade school and toddlers, you have to have a village of support. I mean, our mutual friend Kim was that for me.
Yes. Okay.
Like, yeah, she was there ready to take on my life when I would disappear. So she had everything down where she knew how to pick up the kids and where they were. And yeah, I couldn't have done it without a supportive family and friends and a village.
Sure. I mean, it's not your typical job.
It's not.
Right.
Yeah.
And, the gift that you're giving parents and mothers and couples, to help them get through this successfully, but also to have feelings of a strong marriage and proof to one another that we can do hard things. You're giving a lot. And I can only imagine that when you give so much and you're in such an intense type of role, that you have to be really, really intentional about addressing your own kinds of emotional needs and time to rest and all of that. So when you are, when you're kind of giving yourself some me time, what do you enjoy doing? Or how do you like to recharge or relax?
Yeah, I think my top two is I like to walk, just go get outside in nature.
Yeah.
Just feels so good, especially after being in a hospital,
Right.
It's so different. And then I'm a bath taker. So,
Okay. Yeah.
take a bath, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you, do you totally geek out with all the bath products? Because if so, I'd love for you to share some of your favorite bath products that you love. We'll put them in the bio if you're an expert at that.
I'm not.
You're not?
Like
Well, I love playing around with Epsom salts.
Oh, I love Epsom salts.
I love Epsom salts, and I just recently discovered the ones that are unscented, so I can put whatever my bubble bath is that I want, and they don't clash
Totally.
with each other.
Totally.
So that's my recommendation to you.
Okay. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Epsom salts are magic.
Yeah. And then I think my favorite brand for the scents, like for the bubble baths and stuff, is Molten Brown. Are you familiar with that brand? I think it's English, but they have some really, really yummy scents.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Some of them are feminine, some of them are masculine, or you could consider them unisex, whatever. But there's one, I think it's called Tobacco Absolute, that my husband likes. Now I've just revealed that my husband, Justin, likes to take a bath, bubble bath.
Totally very acceptable. Encouraged.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I don't know how we got into bubble baths, but I really enjoyed our structured conversation about what you do and how you help people and just how you tapped into your passion pretty early on in your career. You made that change when you shifted from biomedical. So listen to yourselves, people. Here is proof right here that there's no rule that you have to stay in one career for a certain amount of time. If you're not feeling it, move over to something that gives you that feeling you had when you got that phone call from your friend who wanted your help.
Yeah, totally. I absolutely agree. And you might have naysayers. I definitely had people say, like, you're throwing away your degree, your engineering degree. Why aren't you, and just be true to yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe sometimes those kinds of comments come from what they think is a good place. But at the end of the day, it is your life that you should live how it's going to make you happy and feel fulfilled. And I mean, what an incredibly fulfilling job you do.
It really.
Thanks for sharing your time with me today.
Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
That was wonderful. Okay, I enjoyed it so much. And if I ever come out to Seattle, I'd love to meet you in person and give you a big hug.
100%.
Okay. We'll see you later. Bye, Alice.
Awesome. Bye, Julie.
Take care.
Thanks.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say how much I loved this conversation with Alice Turner of Birth Toolbox. It's always so interesting to me how women find their way to do the work that they're meant to do. And Alice's story is such a beautiful example of that. She didn't set out with a grand plan. She simply followed a moment where someone needed help. And that instinct to show up for another woman became a calling. And today, it's very clear that this work is deeply rooted in who she is. Even though we're talking all the way across the country from Seattle, Alice had such an instantly warm and grounding presence, and it was like we had known each other for a while. She made it so easy to have an open, honest conversation, and she gave me a window into what pregnancy and birth can truly feel like when you have a doula by your side. As I said in the opening, I didn't fully understand what that experience would look like, and I'm walking away having learned so much to the point where I would genuinely recommend working with a doula to anyone that I knew who's having a baby. If you have the resources to add that extra layer of support, guidance, and advocacy, it just feels like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want to feel as informed and supported as possible during such a meaningful time of life? Alice's story is such a reminder that when you follow the pull to help, even in a small, unexpected way, it can lead to work that truly matters. I'm so grateful for this conversation and for the chance to learn from her. I'm glad you're still here, and the fact that you are, watching or listening all the way to the end means you gave me a chance. This is a new podcast, and it was a big leap to create this for you, something real, thoughtful, and meaningful. We live in one of the most networked societies in history, but somehow we've become the least connected. That's the magic of She Fascinates Me, bringing together real women, real stories, and the quiet alchemy of change. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow or subscribe wherever you watch or listen, and take a moment to leave a quick rating or review. It really helps more people find the show, and it makes it possible for me to keep bringing you conversations like this one. And connect with me on social at She Fascinates Me. Every follow, share, and kind word helps this community of fascinating women grow. I'm so glad we're connected now.
Produced by Do You Validate?